Picture this scenario, because honestly, it is arguably the most dangerous moment in your entire financial life. It's Friday night. You and your partner are at a nice steakhouse. You know the one. White tablecloths, waiters who scrape the crumbs off the table between courses. You are toasting with expensive Cabernet because something amazing just happened. Maybe you got a massive promotion. Maybe your spouse just went back to work. Suddenly, your household income has jumped from $80,000 to $150,000. You take a sip of wine and you do the mental math. You think, we are rich. We're going to kill the debt. We're going to max out the 401k. We are finally going to get ahead. You talk about the boat. You talk about the European tour. But fast forward exactly 12 months. You look at your bank account on a random Tuesday morning and your stomach just drops. You have the exact same amount of savings as you did the night of that steak dinner, maybe even less. The credit card balance, it's actually higher. You are making double the money, but you feel twice as broke. You have walked blindly into the lifestyle creep trap. You are running faster on a treadmill that is set to a steeper incline. You are working harder, but you are not getting anywhere. Welcome back to the Fiscal Axiom. This is the space where we dissect the psychological triggers that cause smart people to make mathematically catastrophic decisions with their paychecks. If you are part of a dual income couple that feels constantly strapped for cash despite earning six figures, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Because today, we aren't talking about inflation. We aren't talking about the price of eggs. We are talking about the enemy in the mirror. We are going to dissect how two incomes create a false sense of security that authorizes reckless spending. And look, this isn't just you. According to recent financial studies, about 1/3 of Americans earning over $150,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. This isn't an income problem, it's a psychology problem. Here's the thing about the human brain. When it encounters a surplus of resources, it panics, but in a pleasurable way. We are evolutionarily wired to consume resources when they are available, because for thousands of years, tomorrow wasn't guaranteed. If you killed a mammoth, you ate the mammoth. You didn't put it in a Roth IRA. So when that second income hits the bank account, your brain doesn't see security, it sees permission. It interprets that extra $4,000 a month not as a tool for freedom, but as a license to upgrade. You stop asking, can we afford this? And you start asking, do we deserve this? And the answer in our culture is always yes. You worked hard. You got the degree. You suffered through the commute. So yes, you deserve the Tesla. You deserve the organic groceries. You deserve the vacation to Tulum. The problem is that deserve is an emotional metric, not a mathematical one. The math says that you just increased your fixed costs to match your new income, effectively neutralizing the raise. You stripped the surplus capital out of your life and replaced it with depreciating liabilities. But lifestyle creep isn't usually a yacht. If you bought a yacht, you'd know you messed up. Instead, it is the death by 1,000 upgrades. It is the subtle shift from wants disguised as needs. When you had one income, you packed a lunch. With two incomes, you buy the $15 sweet green salad because we can afford it. When you had one income, you mowed your own lawn. With two incomes, you hire a service because our time is too valuable. These small rationalizations seem harmless, but when you add them up across every category, they form a concrete layer of spending that hardens over time. You don't even notice it happening. It just becomes your new baseline. And here is the trap. Once you upgrade your baseline, it is psychologically agonizing to downgrade. Going from a Honda to a BMW feels great. Going from a BMW back to a Honda, that feels like a failure. It feels like you're losing status. So you fight tooth and nail to keep the upgrades, even if it means carrying credit card debt. You have trapped yourself in a cage of your own expectations. But wait, it gets worse. Because now we have to talk about the convenience industrial complex. Let's be real. This is where dual income households bleed the most. When both people are working 50 hours a week, you are time poor but cash rich. The market knows this. The market has created an entire economy designed to sell you back your own time at a premium. You were too tired to cook, so you used DoorDash.
That's a 100% markup on food. You were too tired to clean, so you hired a maid. Essentially, you are taking your second salary and funneling a huge chunk of it into services just so you can keep working the second job. It's a feedback loop. You work to pay for the convenience you need because you work. If you actually sat down and calculated the net income of that second job, after daycare, convenience food, commuting, and taxes, you might find that one of you is effectively working for $5 an hour. You are running a business with high revenue, but zero profit margin. Now, you might be thinking, but wait, we really need those 2 cars. We need that house in the good school district. And look, I get it. The economy punishes single-earner households. But this brings us to the most dangerous aspect of the trap, the amplification of fixed expenses. When you go to a bank for a mortgage, they look at your combined gross income. They assume both of you will work at peak capacity for the next 30 years. And because we are optimistic creatures, we buy the house at the top of that approval limit. We lock ourselves into a $4,000 mortgage. We buy 2 cars with $700 payments. Suddenly, our fixed burn rate is $7,000 a month. Here is the terrifying reality. By locking in fixed expenses that require 2 incomes, you have doubled your risk of bankruptcy. In the old days, a family lived on 1 income. If the dad lost his job, it was a crisis, but the mom could enter the workforce to bridge the gap. There was a backup generator. There was slack in the system. In a modern dual-income family with high fixed costs, the backup generator is already running at full capacity just to keep the lights on. If one person loses their job, or gets sick, or burns out, the household collapses instantly. You have zero margin. You are driving a race car at 200 miles an hour with no brakes. You might feel rich because of the cash flow, but you are actually incredibly fragile because of the leverage. And this is exacerbated by social comparison. When you move into that nice neighborhood, you are surrounded by other people playing the same game. You see the renovations, you see the Pelotons.
It becomes the water you swim in. You start to believe that spending 10 grand on a family vacation is normal. You tell yourself, we are buying memories. And sure, memories are great, but compound interest is better. If you blow $10,000 a year on vacations instead of investing it, over 30 years, you have sacrificed nearly $1 million of future wealth. You bought a week at Disney World for the price of your retirement freedom. So, why does this happen? It's Parkinson's law. Your consumption will always expand to match your income unless you build a dam. We confuse high cash flow with wealth. They are not the same. High cash flow just means you are a conduit for money to pass through on its way to Amazon. Wealth is what stays in the bucket. Here is how you break the cycle. First, perform a forensic audit. Sit down with your partner for a drink, because this will hurt, and look at where every single dollar went in the last 3 months. You will be shocked. The lifestyle creep isn't in the mortgage, it's in the $800 at Target. It's the subscriptions you don't use. Second, aim for the 1 income rule. This is the holy grail. Structure your life so that your fixed expenses, mortgage, cars, utilities, food, can be covered by 1 salary, ideally the lower one. The larger salary is then treated as if it doesn't exist. It is swept automatically into savings and investments. If you can do this, you become bulletproof. If one of you gets laid off, you don't lose the house. You just stop saving for a few months. If that's too extreme, start with the lag strategy. The next time one of you gets a raise, pretend you didn't get it for 6 months. Let that money pile up. Break the psychological link between earning and spending. We have to stop looking at a second income as a license to ball out. In this economy, a second income is a defensive weapon. It is a shield, not a sword. Use it to build a fortress of cash and assets that protects your family. Don't use it to build a gilded cage that you are terrified to leave. If this video made you realize you've been spending your raise before it even hits the account, share it with your partner. It's time to have the hard conversation. Thanks for watching the Fiscal Axiom, and we'll see you in the next one.